Good evening, folks, and welcome to A Day with the Card Driver. I'm Day.
And I'm Scam.
And this is Winter 2013.
You're putting on a voice.
Would you prefer that?
You gotta put on an Irish accent.
Oh,
or
God,
a faded Irish accent.
I can't consistently do that. I can only go, so your race is now fodder. Gob shite.
Yes, dear. Anyway.
So we're going to keep all that?
Yes, we're definitely going to keep all that.
All right.
Look, after the excitement of the fall 2012 anime season,
which involves so many Irish people.
Yes. What? No. I mean, the fall 2012 anime season, which had so many anime to talk about, we come to the winter 2013 season.
Which actually is a decent number to talk about, but not the same as last season.
Yeah, more than I thought, but I think that's because my main memory of winter 2013 was not finishing a single TV anime.
Yeah, looking over the list we have, I don't doubt that on your part. Honestly, it wasn't really something that was a good season for me at the time either, because of the things that I did finish. Most of them I didn't finish during the season itself. I watched them much later.
Yeah, this is definitely a day season rather than a scamp season.
Calling it a day season, though, I think is a bit of a stretch. I don't think it was a great season. I also don't think it was a total loss, but that's not saying much. Anyway...
The one that's probably worth talking about, though, considering how many hours do you think you've put onto that game on your phone?
Shush now. But it's not really just about that. It's that it was huge. Although it wasn't... It's a show that built up over time.
Yes.
So this was when the first season of Love Live aired.
Love Live, School Idol Festival.
No, the show... That's the game.
Oh, right, yeah.
The show is Love Live School Idol Project.
Oh, yes.
So this was the first season. And, it did pretty respectably at the time, but interestingly, it was when the second series aired that this really took off.
It was still pretty big in its first season. One of my memories of the first season was how they pitched because it was already starting as a multimedia project. Mm-hmm. Don't think the game had come out yet. But the
game came out in... 2012, I think. Oh, no, it must have been out by now. Because I know the game in the West came out in 2013. Because I started playing it almost immediately.
And still play it to this day.
There's still a lot of people playing it. It's just, it's become less popular.
Yeah.
But, this ended up being huge. It's also worth noting that...
Put it lightly.
That this, I think, is where you see... caused idol anime to blow up in a big time. It's not that they didn't exist before this, but they certainly picked up in numbers after this. And you also saw a lot of shows in the wake of this where it was, instead of things like Idol Master, where it was that more traditional approach to idoldom, you have a manager and all that jazz. There was a lot that came after this that, while not totally aping the format, it went for more check out these girls trying so hard together approach. Which isn't to say that the other ones didn't have that, but there's much more of a focus on it being about the girls.
It becomes more about the characters in the music industry. Because one thing I remember about Love Live was the way they chose what characters they go in was they had
it was a vote.
Public vote.
Almost everything in the original iteration of Love Live was voted on.
Yeah.
Things like the composition of subunits, which girls there were in the first place,
which I always
of things.
Which I always find hilarious because all the characters look the exact same to me. They have some serious same face syndrome going on in Love Live.
Yeah. But, Well, it's also worth noting, though, that the character designs changed a bit from the originals. Sunrise, whoever at Sunrise handled the character designs, refined them a bit and glossed them up, I guess is how I would put it. The character designs as they appear in the show are significantly cuter and more obviously consumer products than the original ones, if that makes sense.
Wow.
And interestingly, you see a similar thing with when Sunrise decided to adapt the Idolmaster franchise as a mech show. the character designs that they used are significant, to my eye at least, cued it up and made it a little more consumer friendly, which sounds ridiculous when you're talking about something like Idolmaster, but this is not, I think maybe some people would complain this would be a vague way of putting it, but it's more round. Like, people's faces are rounder, things are cuter. Does that make sense?
Sorta.
Eyes are rounder, everything looks glossier, that kind of thing. But anyway, Love Live ended up being huge.
You were more
This has the rare distinction, too, of when it was licensed in the U.S. I know that for the first season, they had to reprint it a few times, which is fairly unusual for anime. It's also unusual that publishers would cop to that.
It's definitely... God, because we went to Japan. I mean, maybe we just noticed because you were looking for all of them, but Love Live merchandise outstripped every other type of anime media franchise merchandise out there. Nothing came close to this.
So I will say this though.
Maybe Fate.
We went into what was the store? One of the bigger stores. Yes, the Animate in Ikebukuro had almost no Love Live merchandise. And here's why I was surprised by that. Because, yes, you look at it and you're like, this is a franchise that's probably targeted toward men. It has a fairly sizable female audience. So I was a little surprised that they had almost nothing.
I think that's a Western thing that actually is way more about women.
But we know it's true. So I think it's much more significantly... In fact, it might be in the West... I wouldn't be surprised if you have slightly more female fans than male fans. But there's still definitely a sizable bit of the base in Japan is female.
It's too big to not be.
You know, that's a really good point.
Yeah. But yeah, it was... Once you went to the more male side of Akihabara... specifically Akihabara, because Ikebukuro had more Fujo stuff.
Yeah, like we went down Otome Road.
Yeah, but when you go to Akihabara, it's just...
There's a lot.
Like, the second thing would be, I think, would be Fate. We went to kind of end 2018 to put some time frame on this. And to compare the two, like, Love Live was so far ahead of everything else in just the sheer volume of merchandise they put out, which not necessarily size it, that more just shows the marketing push behind the Fate series. Like, I mean, it's probably not as big as Evangelion.
You know what probably is the best way of putting it, too, though? Because, yes, merchandise gets pushed... But if you go into the secondhand shops, what are they trying to sell there?
Love Live.
Because if you go, secondhand shops are not going to bother to pick up merchandise for shows that don't sell at all. So if you're not finding something in a secondhand store, it's probably not something that many people are interested in.
This is discounting.
Granted, Love Live also, I'm sure, benefits from the fact that a significant chunk of the merchandise, you're getting multi-buys from the same person because they're trying to get their girl, or they're trying to get a winning ticket.
Or they're trying to get the set.
Yeah.
Yeah. Compared, this is like, I mean, this is discounting Pokemon.
You know, and I'm talking about things that are blind box buys as opposed to the ones where you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
But yeah, Love Live, that has ended up pretty huge.
Yeah.
As for this first series of the anime, I think it's pretty bad. It's very safe. Not a lot happens. Yeah, I don't think it's very good. I think it also very much is, it's like, here's a story about these girls trying hard. That was written by mostly dudes. The characters don't behave in ways a lot of the time that read to me as actual teenage female behavior. There's some fussing about things that I don't see as being things that teen girls fuss about. You have a sense of we're supposed to be watching teen girls trying hard in their natural environment, but it also still feels like they're absolutely performing particular personalities for the audience. I just don't think it's very good.
But
the production values are pretty decent.
You do like Sunshine, though.
Yes, I do like the successor series a lot more. It thrives on a lot of very, very created drama, which sounds absurd when talking about a piece of fiction, but, things become crises not because they would be a crisis, but because everybody in this show has to act like it's a crisis. Anyway, I don't really like it.
And I don't even like them across franchise that much. That's how much I dislike Idols.
I'm not really into Idols, so it's strange that, in a way, that I ended up liking this franchise as much as I do. Without, again, liking this initial attempt at it.
And that's about it. Well, actually, there's a couple of TV anime that you watched, like Tamako Market.
Yes, this, I think, is the only show I watched at the time it aired. For this season, I mean. It's perfectly decent. It is...
KyoAni.
It's KyoAni. I guess I would probably place it as one of its mid-level type titles, which is to say, this wasn't huge. It did pretty respectably, but, wasn't on level with, Free, or some of their other big titles, but decent show. I suppose the one thing that really stood out about it was there's a trans character in it, and she just happens to be trans, and it's not really a big thing in the show. It's just she's so it takes place in a shopping it takes place sort of around a shopping arcade. The lead girl, she's grown up in this shopping arcade basically, and her family owns a business in it, and she spends a lot of her free time around the shopping arcade and interacting with the other business owners in there. And yeah, the florist, you realize, she's probably trans. I think she's meant to be trans. They cast her with a male voice actor, but no one finds this the least bit extraordinary. It's just like she swings by the shop and she's like, I'm here for the flowers. And the florist's like, here are the flowers. Oh, thanks. And it's not a big deal to anyone. So, that was kind of neat. Anime has such a bad track record when it comes to trans characters that just having a trans woman existing as a regular old adult is kind of refreshing. It's a pleasant show. Oh, I should mention, though, there's a bird in it who is...
Oh, I remember the big fat bird.
It's going to vary for you. I know people who ended up not watching the show because they thought the bird was too much. It's this obnoxious bird that somehow ends up in their lives, and it's a cockatoo, and they overfeed it so it ends up roughly globe-shaped, and it can't fly very well anymore, and it's kind of an irritating presence, but...
Since you brought up KyoAni and the things that were a lot bigger, we're probably going to talk about the show properly once it actually comes out.
Probably.
Well, yes. However, this was the season in which KyoAni released a sort of promo vid for just them as a studio, really, which people called Swimming Boys at the time, which was a gorgeously animated piece of very attractive young men getting very excited about going swimming, pouring water over each other, glistening in the sunlight. Meanwhile, dubstep music played around in the background.
I was on a swim team. I'm actually pretty sure that's exactly what that shit was like.
Was it?
Even the dubstep. Maybe more sunburns.
And just looking back at what a weirdly big deal that thing was.
A lot of people screaming and insisting it wasn't actually meant to be that they were going to make something.
It's like, how could you think? Of course they're not going to make...
KyoAni's too good for that. They make, serious stuff, like, Fumofu.
And then they make Free, straight away afterwards, and people are like, wait.
And oh my god.
But it was also... obviously, it was like the shitheads who were like, how dare you even consider... And then all these women who just suddenly sat up and were like, what is this Swim Boys thing? Please give me the Swim Boys. Please give me the Swim Boys. I will make... people were like... half of the women on Twitter suddenly all set their profile pictures to one of the Swim Boys. It was an event, and on a level that no other trailer has ever come even remotely close. Even something big I remember when the Attack on Titan trailer dropped, for example, which was a pretty big deal when it happened, but none of this compares to the fucking Free trailer.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen as many people get indignantly angry about a trailer either.
Yeah, anyway.
I realized I did forget to mention one thing with Tamako Market, which people probably would be interested in, is that so there's 3 girls in it, and one of them, it turns out, is gay. She's a crush on the lead. I probably forgot it because it's the sort of thing where you know it's never going to develop into anything. It's not treated as a joke. It's just also clear that she's never a viable potential love interest, if that makes sense. Like, I accused the episode where they look into it as being after-school special-ish in tone at the time. I think that criticism still holds, but my point is it's not like a lot of things where it's like, duh, isn't it funny? Lesbian harassment, look, she grabs her friend's tits, It's not like that at all.
Anyway.
But moving along.
You watched, because again, this all stuff you watched.
There's a bunch of stuff that I didn't watch. I did not watch Encouragement of Climb. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, sorry, I put that. Encouragement of Climb.
That's a weird...
It's a weird short about girls who go
They're really into hiking and climbing mountains.
So it's like halfway between... What are the two ones that came out like right around the same time?
Oh, you mean A Place Further Than the Universe and
Yuri?
Yuri.
No, Eurocamp. Eurocamp. Slightly different. Somewhere between those two. Camp. Yes.
Anyway.
Somewhere between those two. This thing keeps getting sequels, and I keep seeing people who are actually like really into it. It's just some weird short about girls who like hiking. I don't know.
And it's, because I look at it and I'm like, okay, but what sets this apart from all these others that are in similar territory to this? Why does it keep getting sequel? Because I think it's about to get a third season.
I think it's got more than that, actually.
See, there have been some OVAs.
Okay.
But it's going to have a third season. But yeah. Whatever. I mean, you do you.
You watched this thing, which was a spin-off.
Later on, though. I did not watch it when it aired.
Oh.
The Unlimited. Something Hyobu Kyosuke.
Zettai Karen Children.
It is, yes, it's a spin-off of Zettai Karen Children.
Which no one watched anyway.
Which was released in the West as Absolutely Lovely Children, which is roughly what that means anyway. Yeah, not a lot of people watched this because it came a significant amount of time after Zettai Karen Children ended. So, I don't know, it's fine. It's difficult to talk about when you figure almost no one has seen it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It takes place in a world where there are psychics, and in Zettai Karen Children, there's 3 psychic girls who basically fight crime, and they're cute. This would be kind of the darker sibling, I guess, because it's about a guy who's like, nope, I'm not going to do cute shit. I am a psychic, and everybody treats us like garbage. Actually, he's kind of Magneto.
Okay.
Except he doesn't age.
Anime Magneto.
I think also he may have had some involvement. He's old enough that he was around during World War II, and I'm pretty sure he ends up getting experimented on by, his own government. He's Japanese. And I think that sort of...
does very much sound like the X-Men.
Yeah, it does a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so that's why he's like, fuck the police, basically, and goes off and does his own thing. And he has a cruise ship that he just fills up with all these other psychics who've been kind of treated like crap by society, to include a flying squirrel.
Naturally. The
flying squirrel it communicates with everybody through telepathy.
Naturally.
And the one thing that really, really I did not like about this, though, is a new guy joins the crew at the start, and he doesn't get along with everyone too well. It's funny, because, they're all outcasts, but then they have this new outcast, and none of them want to be friends with them. And for some reason, the show thinks it's really funny to keep pushing this joke that, LOL, we think because he has been playing with the one kid on the ship that he's a pedophile. That's so funny. And it keeps pushing this, and it's like, no, it's not funny. Also, he's not a pedophile anyway. But if he was, it wouldn't be funny. Anyway.
Do we get to talk about the second most important anime this season?
Inferno...
No.
Okay.
Inferno Cop.
I got my brother to watch this, and now he won't watch any more anime.
Inferno Cop was...
you have to say it right.
Inferno Cop.
Kopu.
Inferno Kopu is... Inferno Cop was by... So after Hiroyuki Maishi and his team, after doing Brandon Sock and Garth Belt, they were like, fuck Gynax, you guys suck, you're all going to die soon. In the studio.
I know, that's the way you put it.
We're going to make our own studio with blackjack and hookers. And so one thing I know...
What?
It's a Futurama reference.
Oh,
anyway.
Sorry, I haven't seen much of that.
It is... So what I know studios do, and this is for everything, not just anime, is sometimes they'll make something short and dumb just to like prove they can go through the production process. They can go through like the creation, storyboarding, but also then shipping it. Essentially just to prove that they can produce a thing so you all feel good about having produced a thing. Even if it's something very dumb with no effort put into. So they put out this incredibly stupid thing on their YouTube channel called Inferno Cop.
Here, I'm going to, if you don't know what this is, I'm going to give you a good idea of what it is, though. Mm. Imagine the folks at Adult Swim who make the bumpers between shows and episodes and everything were given money to make a show. This is what you would get.
Yeah.
Do you think that's fair?
Yes. One scene in episode 2 involves Inferno Cop shooting at Death Baby, who's a giant squid monster thing. Anyway, and by the way, this is all like flash animated where characters wibble around. They don't move. And so there's one scene in which he's like, where Inferno Cop shoots him, and he goes, "Aha! You fell into my trap. I'm immune to bullets." And the bullet bounces off him, and Inferno Cop then goes, "Aha! Screw you. So am I." And the bullet bounces off him, and he goes back to Dead Babe. Dead Babe's like, "Not me!" And explodes.
The one that sticks with me is where there's a scene wherein he uses his sidekick. His sidekick is like, "No, use me for it." They're in a, like, is it a go-kart race?
Yes.
And he's trying to catch some villain or something, but they're falling behind, and Inferno Cop's dorky little sidekick is like, "Use me for fuel," so he burns him down for fuel.
Yeah. And then he turns into bread, and then Inferno Cop eats him.
Yeah.
Yes. And goes, "Umai," and then falls asleep in a sarcophagus.
It's very strange. It's really funny. Maybe not the thing to show people as baby's first anime.
It is.
As I discovered with my brother.
It is. I actually really, really, really like Inferno Cop.
Yeah.
It's utterly. Oh, and then there's Mr. Justice and the FBI. Who
Inferno Cop. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. It's the best thing Trigger has ever made. I am okay with saying that.
I quite like it.
I will stand by that.
I like Kill la Kill, so I will put that above it. But
I think there's something else you really liked that they made that came out this season.
Yes. So this is actually, yeah, so technically this is what they made very shortly after Inferno Cop. I'd forgotten about this. So we've talked about in previous episodes about the Young Animator Training Project, which was funded by the government to train up young animators to work on a project under some studios, basically. And so in the past, we've talked about Wasare Nagumo, aka Little Spider Girl, and Oji-san no Lampu. And there's loads and loads of others. Most of them are pretty shite, but some of them are quite good. However, there were 2 this season. Far and away the 2 most important have come out of it.
Yeah.
The first was...
I think the first one's probably the most important.
Yes. Was Little Witch Academia. Which is basically anime Harry Potter.
But it's all girls.
All girls, yes. All girls school for witches. And then
also, there's no Dementors.
No Dementors.
No souls get sucked out in this show.
It's early Harry Potter when things didn't get quite so dark.
Wait a minute. Harry Potter starts off with a kid in a cupboard under the stairs. Do not tell me before things got dark.
No, I'm talking about the kind of the magic,
the tone,
the wonder, and the wonder and magic.
Yeah. You know, they do treat the whole stuck in a cupboard thing as like, yeah, that's kind of crap. But you know, these things are life. Yeah. Now you're a wizard.
You're a wizard now, Harry. You're a wizard, Akko.
You're a racist now, Harry.
Thanks, dear. All right. You're
a grand wizard now, Harry.
It is. Sorry. I mean, it's. So this was just a set in like magical school with all the witches, and then she's like, "Oh, I can't ride the broom," and then magical powers, and then explosions, and then all dramatic, and then there's a Malfoy character. It's Harry Potter, but it's like
and people ship the Harry Potter with the Malfoy in this one too.
Oh wow!
Wow, imagine that.
What's I've forgotten all their names. There's Akko is the main character.
Diana.
Diana, of course, very, because she's of course super posh and stuff, and like from a ancient wizarding family. So the reason why we know more about it, because this is only like 20 something episodes. Not only like
this
20.
This one was 20 minutes or so.
But one of the reasons why it blew up was because Trigger just put it up on their YouTube channel for free with English subs, and the subs were in pink.
Inferno Cop is also
was
on YouTube with subtitles.
But Little Witch Act, like people really liked it. And they end up just like really, like people who watch it were like, this is great. Also, they just put it up on YouTube for free. Everyone should go watch this. And that really helped push it.
Yeah.
Which meant
it's funny because, good lord, is it different from anything else that Trigger has put out?
No, yeah. I mean, it's not Maishi is the big thing. It's the same.
Yeah, but even if you look at some of the stuff Trigger's put out that doesn't involve him, it's not much like this at all.
Well, yeah, that's kind of light novel garbage, most of it.
He was not involved, I believe, with Kisniver either.
No. But yeah, it would be the kind of thing that you'd put on at like 4 o'clock on Cartoon Network. It's a very family-friendly show. I mean, the Cartoon Network, the Harry Potter thing is exactly what it's like. Because eventually, so they did a Kickstarter for a movie, which eventually came out. And then they did a full 26 episode TV show, which
was on Netflix, and I think did pretty decently.
Yeah, it was. And I still see people talk about it today. I mean, that is a lot more recent, but
yeah, I was going to say there's been a sufficient amount of material in the interim.
But it all started with this small little OVA thing, which was neat.
Yeah. The other young animator training project thing that was put out at this time was Death Billiards. Which there ended up being a show, a TV series several years later, Death Parade, which I think people were pretty surprised when that was announced.
Yes, right? But people really like Death Billiards, and people ultimately we'll talk about our problems with it, but Death Parade actually was a reasonably big hit at the time as well.
Yeah, but I think that they could have just left it at Death Billiards and we all would have been better off, but that's a different matter.
Yeah. It's because much like Death Billiards, actually looks really good as well. That's the thing. Most of the long animated training project things look quite good, but Inferno Cop and Death Billiards stuck out. Not Inferno Cop. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Little Witch Academy.
Inferno Cop's the sort of thing that it's like, wow, this looks like shit, but no, that's the point.
Yes, but yeah, Little Witch Academy and Death Billiards.
What's the opposite of like all the people who are into really good animation?
Sakuga.
Thank you. What would be the opposite of Sakuga?
Saku shit.
People are like, I love animation that looks so terrible.
I love Ninja Slayer.
The Virgin Mary cry.
Inferno Cop.
Yes, Ninja Slayer. Ninja Slayer was much more
recent,
animated, if you know what I mean.
Then Inferno Cop.
In terms of like movement within a single frame and fluidity,
it's not much difficult to be more animated than Inferno Cop. Anyway,
there's definitely been stuff though.
Yes.
But back to shows that actually aired this season.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about most of the important. Well, so I actually watched. So
Mayu Maho was fairly big at the time.
It was one of those ones that a lot of people hyped up before it came out, and then
people were like, "Oh, this shit, it's really good. It's serious. It's not just booby shit."
It's kind of like Spice and Wolf because it's about economics and fantasy
and food
potatoes.
The premise, it has to do with like there's a hero and there's a demon and she's a queen. And
he's gonna kill her, but
instead they fall in love and they decide to try to make her kingdom better, I guess.
Through economics.
Yes.
I don't think they fall in love.
There's a lot of stuff about potatoes. I thought they fell in love.
No, I think it was just it's not like they're not even Spice and Wolf level. It's just an agreement to like, oh look, we'll fix the kingdom, etc.
Yeah, the thing that I remember about this is that they plussed her boobs up.
Oh yeah, they were huge.
Because in the original, she was not particularly top heavy, and in the anime, the poor woman. Well, we're not quite at can you stand up straight levels, but they're large.
Yes.
But there's a lot of stuff about potatoes.
I also remember the like some of the economics being like, no.
Yeah.
Like this is all wrong. Yes.
To be fair, doesn't that describe much of the economics field? Oh!
Oh! But it felt like, like Spice and Wolf was like, yeah, okay, fine, this is a bit dull, but, you're doing okay in describing general supply and demand. Whereas Mario should just, some of the stuff was like, wait, no?
That doesn't make any sense.
Yes. But yeah. Another thing that was actually like kind of big when it started airing at first, because it had very dramatic first episode, was Kotora-san. Do you remember?
Wasn't there some death at the start?
There was like death and like
her
really
cat is killed or something?
It's like really violent and like I don't even remember the details, but it was like really violent and just shocking. And everyone was like, whoa, this dramatic shit, oh my god. And then the rest of it was shite.
I didn't see any of it. I do remember people being shocked by the first episode, and a lot of people, I think, ended up watching it because people were shocked.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't remember anything else about this show.
I remember being, like, there were lots of jokes like, ha ha, panties, I think.
Oh.
It was crap. And actually, ultimately, the kind of shock value, ultimately, once you realised it was purely shock value and they went back to it, it was like, oh, this is just kind of cheap and shit. But yeah. I remember it being really shocking at the time, though. Like, what the fuck is this?
There was, if we're talking about shocking, there was Cuticle Detective Inaba, which involved a hair fetish.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything else about
it.
I think it was very cheaply produced. That's all I know.
There was probably the most forgettable Shaft anime of this decade.
Sasami-san Gambaranai.
Which there
was a lot of, like, really complicated discussions about metaphysics in this and religion.
Yes.
And I think that's probably, honestly, I think that's probably why I didn't do that well, because
it was inscrutable.
Yes. Most people don't know enough about Buddhism to have parsed much of what was going on.
Yeah.
Because we're talking, just very...
And like in some weird cutesy girl thing with like the world turning into chocolate.
Oh yeah.
Like
it involves 3 sisters, I think, one of whom is a shut-in.
Like when we say this is the least memorable Shaft show, that's still by Shaft standards. Shaft shows are
I
kind
don't
of
know that it wasn't memorable. I think it was just too obtuse for most people.
Yeah.
I saw a few episodes.
To be fair, you have a very high IQ.
Oh my god. See, I did my undergraduate degree in religion, so it didn't go quite as over my head as I think it did for a lot of people.
Did you like it?
I thought it was interesting, which is not the same as liking something.
Oh.
It's the sort of thing that I remember at the time, you couldn't watch 2 episodes in a row. And I know after the 4th or 5th episode, it was like, wow, this takes a lot of work to watch, and then I never watched the next episode.
Huh. I do, that you said this, I do remember people saying that at the time, but yeah, for like, when over the head
It wasn't, so there are quite a few Shaft shows which you have to focus on a lot while you're watching.
Yeah.
Or you have to be very fast on the pause button. But this was, again, a lot of the concepts it was discussing were obscure enough, even for an audience primed by things like Monogatari and some of Shaft's other stuff, that it just, and that's not to say like, oh, this is too intellectually lofty. It's just, again, most people are not that well versed in various world religions.
Also, my understanding was even if with that knowledge, it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it was more interesting than it was good. I would say it was interesting, not that it was good.
The most popular stuff, so like, because I always go like open up Mal, and like Mal isn't always the best because it kind of says what I'll be watching at the time rather than what's actually stuck. So the 2 most popular things this season were like Problem Children Come From Another World and My Girlfriend and My Childhood Friend Are Fighting.
Wait, what was Girlfriend and Childhood Friend Are Fighting?
It was these...
oh my god, I don't remember that one at all.
I remember it. The girlfriend liked JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Well, now I know what you remember.
This was before JoJo's came back.
Yeah, but JoJo's...
Oh, no, wait, no. JoJo's was back by now. Sorry, I'm wrong.
Yeah, wasn't it last season?
Yeah, it was airing at this time, actually.
Yeah, so see, of course you would remember this then.
Yeah. But that, and Problem Children Come from Another World had a girl with bunny ears, and apparently if you put a girl with bunny ears in your thing, people remember it nowadays.
I don't know that people necessarily remember it.
Okay, true, but it was the most popular thing this season.
That really surprised me because I didn't remember it being a particularly widely watched show at the time.
No.
It was one of those...
I thought it'd be Mao.
I mean, we're in like the full flush of light novel adaptations, and I seem to recall the time it being like, this is one of those bottom scraper ones, like they couldn't come up with anything. It involves problem children ending up in an alternate world. It's an isekai.
It's an isekai, before people started using the term isekai. I mean, it's after Sword Art Online, so I guess you could just say people were... this was proof that like people come out of any old shite and people are going to watch isekai.
Oh, now we're going to get the problem children lobby's going to come kick our asses now.
Yep. Anyway...
oh, there's a whole pile of crap this season too, though.
You watched the Star Driver movie.
I said a whole pile of crap. This wasn't bad. It just...
Yeah.
It didn't really add to the franchise at all. This was a compilation film. It was perfectly fine. Not particularly memorable. It has a very low score on Mal, and I'm convinced it's that people were very upset because all the trailers showed the only new material, and the new material takes up perhaps a collective 5 minutes. The rest of it is basically straight up
recap.
It's a recap. They reanimated stuff, and some of the storylines are altered slightly, but it's just altered in the sense of we cut out this chunk type approach. It's fine. I think a lot of people are disappointed.
It's also the season of what people consider to be... You said this is the worst Precure?
Oh, so I think generally speaking, most people agree that Doki Doki Precure is probably the worst Precure. Because, now, I didn't watch it, so I'm just basing this off what I know other people have said about it. It suffered very badly from one of the girls basically going God mode in the second half, and the rest of the cast getting left a bit by the wayside. This and other contenders for this dubious distinction are probably Happiness Charge, that was not well received, and to a lesser extent, Sweet Precure. Arguably, Sweet Precure has had some... People have gone back and reassessed it. It's still not well considered, but I think this is probably the one that wins for considered the worst.
There's some real crap we've put down here.
Yeah, like Vivid Red.
The only thing that's worth remembering about Vivid Red is the show opened with a sunrise coming up between in the crotch of a little girl and her butt tight pants.
Yeah.
Hot pants.
Wasn't there like vertical docking or some shit in this? This was not a good show. Vivid Red.
I mean, it's a Strike Witches knockoff. Like...
Yeah, except instead of like just wearing straight up underpants, they're wearing booty shorts.
Booty shorts.
Anyway.
I'm going to say Manamike Tadaima, which is like the third season. Every season after the first season of Manamike is kind of shite. No, I think the second season might be okay because I had the scene where the guy performed about the ingredients to curry in front of a... Yes, because that was one where he started playing the piano and like about all the ingredients to curry. It's a pretty good scene.
And that saved the whole season, huh?
Yeah, that saved the whole season. But yeah, Tadaima's complete shite.
Didn't they have a studio change?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. This is one that, man, like weird decision making. They decided to make another Da Capo adaptation. But Da Capo was, it was of that era of the Key Annie shows, we're adapting these visual novels that aren't just like tit-splosion in your face. It was, there's storytelling here, or at least, the people are really into it.
Dramatic cute girl roots.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Da Capo was totally in that wheelhouse. By the time this aired, it's 2013. That whole trend had pretty much passed. So they made this, and yes, they tried to make it a booby show, although certainly not to the extent of what I tend to think of when I hear booby show. It was more like they took the usual Da Capo and then just, like, jammed in weird scenes of jiggling boobs and such, and panty shots, which really had not been this thing's bag before that, so I did not watch it.
Ishida to Asakura.
God, that was bad.
I still see people today who say this is the worst anime of the decade.
That's interesting, because I would not think it would have a high enough profile for anyone to touch it.
That's the thing. The handful of people
who... so bad. I remember watching the first episode and being like, wait, what?
That's exactly it. Like, this thing
was a short.
It was a short, but it was so terrible. Like, just, like, completely, like, was that a joke kind of thing? That the handful of people, which is very few people who did watch it, came away from going like, that's the worst anime I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my god. Come on now, though. It has nothing on the likes of things like Abunai Sisters or Vampire Homes.
I think Vampire Homes might be better than it.
Did you watch all of Vampire Homes?
I watched like 3 episodes, and I
watched all of Vampire Homes.
Everlasting love.
But yeah, I watched one episode. I just, I was left with this feeling of, sort of astonishment that someone had made this.
Yeah.
It's a short, and I just remember at some point, doesn't the guy stick a pencil up his nose?
That's in the promo art.
Is it? Okay. I also seem to recall being weird, like, kind of viciously homophobic in a way I wasn't expecting.
Look.
Anyway, this was bad. Don't watch it.
And finally, we almost forgot about this one.
Oh, God. That was a bad joke. Amnesia. Amnesia was this is one of the low points of the otome adaptation genre. If one of the common complaints about adaptations of these games is, wow, the heroine sure is totally free of personality or personal will. This is quite close to the nadir of that.
Yep.
The lead girl, she's dealing with amnesia. Shit. And then, like, this really ugly companion type magical creature appears, and it's like, no, don't go to the hospital, that'll just make it worse. So she doesn't. Also, she works at this cafe where all the guys wear incomprehensible clothes that involve too many belts. And so she keeps getting reset because you realize she keeps getting reset in time, and that's why she keeps forgetting what the hell's going on. And, like, I know at some point she gets thrown off a cliff.
Yes, because I've seen that GIF.
Yeah.
Which I've seen people use for whenever they drop an anime, they use that GIF of a pretty man who looks a bit like Tuxedo Mask if Tuxedo Mask wore too many belts, dropping off a cliff and going, dropped!
Yeah, it's not good. This is a really bad show.
Yeah.
Also, I want to say the visuals seem to almost have taken a nod from Persona.
Yes, I could agree with that.
Except, lots of belts.
Yes.
Terrible clothing in the show. Yeah, she's pretty bad. So, yeah, Winter 2013 wasn't great. There were some heavy hitters, but there's also a lot of complete garbage.
You got any good idea for the ending song?
Oh, dear. Maybe the Love Live?
Is there a notable song from Love Live?
I mean the whole show's about songs. So.
I know. Is there the one from the first season, Snow Halation?
That's from the second season.
Oh,
thank you.
Sorry. That's the only one I know.
Oh, well, I guess we won't have a song.
Okay. I mean...
We'll see you next week, folks.
I'm going to use the trumpets from Little Witch Academia that they play for the songs.
Well, it is your choice.
Anyway, see you next week.